Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not venturing into an abandoned mental asylum, aka my in-laws' house, I'm here at the Wolfula reviewing movies. For today's video, I'll be covering Grave Encounters, released in 2011 and directed by the Vicious Brothers, who are, to my surprise, not a Sex Pistols tribute band.
I want to be very clear about this. What you're about to see is not a movie. Not a frame of this has been doctored. It hasn't been manipulated in any way.
Grave Encounters is a found footage film telling the story of the titular ghost hunting TV series Grave Encounters and the making of its 6th and never-aired final episode.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Grave Encounters.
Grave Encounters was hosted by Dane Cook, edited by a different Dane Cook, shot by Black Dane Cook, featuring occult expertise by female Dane Cook, and psychic consultation by spray tan addict Dane Cook. And I know what you're all thinking, and yes, everyone involved in this film still has an active MySpace page.
There is something else here. It's like a dark spirit. It might even possibly be a demon.
The film supposedly depicts portions of Grave Encounters' final episode taping, cut together from 76 hours of raw footage, as the host Lance Preston and his TV crew venture into the abandoned Collingwood Psychiatric Hospital in Maryland. I swear to God this isn't actually Canada. And after venturing to the asylum, the crew is never seen or heard from again. And not just because nobody would hire them for another movie after this.
Yeah!
The mental hospital was the site of scores of lobotomies by the institution's leading doctor by the name of Friedkin, probably an Exorcist homage, who performed grisly surgeries on mistreated patients in the overcrowded facility, only for the doctor himself to finally meet his demise at the hands of his own patients. So, you know, the cliche haunted asylum backstory you've seen in the House on Haunted Hill remake and dozens of other horror flicks.
6 patients broke out of their rooms and stabbed Friedkin in his office.
It's a crazy story.
The credibility of the property's haunting and the production of the show covering it is called into question early on when the host of the show slips a gardener on the property $20 to say he saw a ghost.
Have you ever seen anything strange in the past 10 years of working here?
Yeah, I saw a ghost. Over here, it was really scary.
Wait, why does an abandoned mental hospital have a gardener anyway? Unless, of course, he's a ghost gardener.
This is really a paranormal hotspot unlike anything we have ever shot at before.
Unsubtle cynicism aside, after the exposition, foreshadowing, a spooky time lapse, and the gang posing for a Creed album cover, we finally get to the meat of the movie as the gang locks themselves up in an abandoned insane asylum, because if this place is haunted, they need to guarantee that the ghost will kill them, because ghost snuff films make the most money at the box office.
6 a.m. sharp. Good luck.
Initially, the film runs through the conventions of the found footage playbook. The gang has a camera on at all times, and there are multiple stationary cameras planted throughout the facility.
Open the window. Even just a nudge.
The film does have an air of authenticity to its ghost hunting show premise to ground itself. This movie initially could actually pass for a real episode of a ghost hunter show.
It stinks out here, too.
Oh, did you hear that?
The early stages of the film are limited to the expected windows or doors opening and closing by themselves, objects moving a bit out of view, and even some ghosts caught on camera. But eventually the ghosts get a little less friendly and a lot more obvious.
Matt?
Things start to get dire, though, when one of the crew members, Matt, disappears without a trace.
Matt!
Matt!
And the remaining crew desperately attempts to force the front door of the hospital open.
This doesn't make any sense. This is the way we came in.
Only to discover that the entrance now leads into a seemingly never-ending labyrinth of hallways, and despite many hours, even days passing, it's never daylight outside.
Check my cell phone, and it says the time's 1:12. It's 1:12 p.m.
And even though the hospital has no power, the cameras have plenty of power to document the crew's every waking moment in this place. Of course, the cameras could be powered by ghost batteries.
I'm gonna document everything. When we get out of this place, People are gonna want to see this.
Found footage films, for me at least, live or die based on how convincing they are. My favorite found footage films are the ones where you can easily be immersed and trick yourself into thinking what you're watching is totally real. And early on, Grave Encounters does work on that level. The Asylum is a very creepy location, especially being totally pitch black with all of these infinite dark rooms that could be hiding anything.
What the fuck is that?
Hello? The film's shot eerily with grainy night vision photography. The movie has a really good atmosphere that a found footage film can especially thrive on. The thing is, though, Grave Encounters also makes it clear early on that it is overtly dealing with the supernatural. This paranormal TV crew, used to faking the supernatural, encounters genuine paranormal phenomena early on in the movie, and it's clear that what is happening can't be open to interpretation, where it could be a hoax or people terrorizing the crew. Now, a found footage film doesn't have to be ambiguous, of course, but when you make a found footage film that overtly deals with the supernatural, ideally you need to make it a very convincing depiction of the supernatural. So even the most skeptical of your audience could believe what they're seeing is real, because the more your audience believes, the more scared they'll be. Grave Encounters shows us shit moving around and ghost images very early on, though, so it has to up the ante from there with even more overt ghostly activity on screen, and it leaves a bit to be desired when the gang starts to encounter ghost patients in this asylum, and their faces stretch out with CGI like they're Jim Carrey in The Mask. Hey girl, what that mouth do? The movie is unfortunately very reliant on CGI for its effects, which is understandable for an ultra-low-budget found footage movie, but the distorted, computerized faces of the ghosts, well, they're goofy looking. It's hard to believe in them and take any of it seriously. So once the scares actually kick in, the movie falls on its face. The TV crew is supposedly trapped in this asylum for days without any hope of getting out, and if the performances could have gotten that across well, the movie's sense of reality would have been elevated, but it feels like no matter how fucked up things get for the crew, from their food supplies rotting away to messages carved in their bodies out of nowhere, they seem to take it a lot better than you'd probably take these situations.
Sasha, we gotta take this down. This is unheard of. There's no way someone came in here and did that without us noticing.
The characters will get a bit heated with each other, but the conflict within the group always just comes off as restrained, ultimately.
Means we're fucked. Okay, that's what it fucking means.
It's insane. It's fucking insane.
The cast was mostly composed of Canadian TV actors asked to improvise their dialogue, and it's clear their acting abilities come with some limitations.
Everything's gonna be okay. He'll help you too.
And even though the characters are supposed to have been trapped in this asylum for days, I just never got that sense until the remaining characters very quickly waste away both physically and mentally in the final act. And by then it felt rushed and too late to really feel drawn into these characters and their shared plight.
I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Ultimately, even if the movie's scare potential isn't reached, Grave Encounters still works on the basic level of looking and feeling like a fun walkthrough of a haunted house attraction. Like walking through a house in Halloween Horror Nights. You know that nothing you see in there can hurt you. There's no threat, but it looks spooky, and you might get a jump from something popping out, but then you laugh it off once you get a better look at it. The film could have genuinely been a more frightening, brutal experience with a more realistic, convincing presentation, but it's still an enjoyable ride as a goofy found footage film you can watch together with your special somebody on a dark night. I give Grave Encounters a Dane Cook out of other Dane Cook. Man, those spooky CGI jump scares are so fucking cheap. Oh, yeah, subscribe to the Gulag channel, which has returned with a review of Addams Family Reunion. Watch it now. Link in the description. If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. I'd also like to thank these fine folks pledged my shout-out tier on Patreon for all their kind support. Videos like this wouldn't be possible without all their help. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.